Tensions in the Middle East have reached a critical boiling point, sparking widespread fears of a third global conflict. As regional powers engage in direct confrontations, the international community watches with bated breath. This isn't just a localized skirmish, it is a complex geopolitical puzzle with global consequences. Today, we break down the latest escalations, the key players involved, and why military analysts are sounding the alarm. From missile strikes to maritime blockades, the stakes have never been higher for global stability. We will examine the facts behind the headlines to understand if we are truly on the brink of a larger war. The border between Israel and Lebanon has become a volatile front line. Hezbollah has increased its rocket fire, leading to massive displacements on both sides. Over 60,000 Israeli civilians have been evacuated from the north, while Lebanese border towns face intense retaliatory strikes. The involvement of Hezbollah, a non-state actor with significant state-like military capabilities, adds a layer of unpredictability. Analysts fear that a full-scale ground invasion into southern Lebanon could be the catalyst for a broader regional conflagration involving multiple state actors and paramilitary groups across the Levant.
The shadow war between Iran and Israel has moved into the light. Tehran's direct missile and drone attacks have shattered long-standing taboos regarding direct state-on-state engagement. With over 300 projectiles fired in recent escalations, the threshold for direct conflict has been lowered significantly. Iran's axis of resistance, comprising proxies in Iraq, Syria, and Yemen, coordinates actions to stretch regional defenses. The international community is particularly concerned about Iran's nuclear breakout time, which some experts suggest has narrowed to just weeks, creating a use-it-or-lose-it dilemma for regional adversaries.
The conflict has spilled into the vital maritime arteries of global trade. Houthi rebels in Yemen have targeted international shipping in the Red Sea, claiming solidarity with Gaza. This has forced major shipping companies to divert vessels around the Cape of Good Hope, adding weeks to transit times. Approximately 12% of global trade passes through the Suez Canal, and these disruptions are causing freight costs to skyrocket. The U.S.-led Operation Prosperity Guardian aims to protect these lanes, but the persistence of drone and missile attacks continues to threaten the stability of the global supply chain.
Geopolitical instability in the Middle East invariably impacts the energy market. Brent crude oil prices have fluctuated near $85 per barrel as traders price in the risk of supply disruptions. If the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most important oil choke point, were to be closed, analysts predict prices could surge well above $100. This would trigger a new wave of global inflation, complicating the efforts of central banks to stabilize economies. For the average citizen, this translates to higher prices at the pump and increased costs for consumer goods, making the conflict a domestic issue for every nation. Beyond the strategic maneuvers, the humanitarian toll is staggering. In Gaza, the civilian infrastructure has been decimated, with millions facing food insecurity and lack of medical care. In Israel, the trauma of the October 7th attacks and ongoing rocket fire remains a primary driver of national policy. Across the region, the number of internally displaced persons is rising, creating a refugee crisis that could soon impact Europe and beyond. International aid organizations are struggling to provide relief amidst the active combat zones, calling for immediate humanitarian corridors to prevent a total collapse of civilian life in the most affected areas.
The escalation isn't limited to physical battlefields. Cyber attacks targeting critical infrastructure have surged. State-sponsored hacking groups are targeting power grids, water systems, and financial institutions to sow chaos and weaken national resolve. In the last 6 months, there has been a 30% increase in reported cyber incidents linked to the regional conflict. Misinformation campaigns on social media further polarize public opinion and make diplomatic solutions harder to achieve. This digital dimension of modern warfare ensures that even those thousands of miles away from the kinetic conflict can feel its disruptive effects.
Are we heading toward World War III? While the ingredients for a global conflagration are present, de-escalation is still possible through intensive diplomacy and strategic restraint. The next few months will be decisive. Will regional powers find a way to coexist, or will a single miscalculation trigger a chain reaction that engulfs the world? Staying informed and looking past the sensationalism is vital for every global citizen. We must continue to watch the developments in the Red Sea, the northern border of Israel, and the diplomatic corridors of the UN. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the Middle East crisis.